Welcome back to another pencil drawing demo. We're going to go over hatch, crosshatch. So let's get started. For me, hatch means short, straight lines. Now that doesn't mean all super short. Oftentimes, for me, the best hatch comes from variety. And if I have nothing up here, I'm not pressing very hard here as I get the lines a little bit closer, which if I combine that with pressing just a little bit harder, then I should have a darker value and it will show up a little bit better. What I do want to see is consistency in this, and that comes down with sensitivity and control of the media, which in this case is my pencil. This third one down is where I'll probably start to get some crosshatch. In fact, I think I am just going to do some crosshatch, and you know, it's a pencil. I have an eraser. I'll have a do-over here. And as you see my arm moving around, I'm trying to come all the way to the edges. Eventually, when I'm shading, I want values to define my edges much more so than outlining. Outlining for me, as we're starting to learn, is much less than ideal, and if we're not careful, it will usually flatten out our object. Even at this rate, you can start to see a difference. But if I zoom in just a touch, again, I've got nothing up here. It's very white. It's very, very light here, kind of all in one direction. The lines are just closer together, and I was pressing just a little bit harder, and then I'm starting to get into some crosshatch. In my next two boxes, I'm going to need to eliminate even more of that white space coming through and get my lines even closer together. And now this last one down here, it just needs to be a lot darker. I'm not going to just color it in. I'm still using individual little pencil strokes. As I begin to work more, not only will they be closer together, but I'll also start to press a little bit harder. And there you have it. And you know, I'm fairly happy with this, but I want to be able to see, as I can here, a distinct difference between each rectangle, and that tells me that I'm starting to get some control over my pencil, and my marks are looking consistent, and they're not too quick and too sloppy just to get it done. I'm really paying attention to what's there. Now that I have my value scale done on my worksheet here, I want to take this circle and try to make it look like a three-dimensional sphere, like it's an object existing in space. I have a light source that I'm determining over here so that the very lightest part of my object will be over here in the upper left-hand area, and it will gradually get darker as I work my way across the object. I will still work from my lightest to my darkest, and what I want to do here at the very beginning is just put marks that I'm just barely pressing on, and they're not very dark at all. In fact, I can barely see them in person, so I know on the video you can barely see them as well. I'm not allowing these marks to get too dark or too long. One of the things that I have found that helps me is that by doing light to medium kind of things, especially in a small object like this, it will allow me to create some layers. And in creating layers, what I'll be able to do is to get my transitions to look more gradual and thus more natural. As you can tell, I'm getting my marks a little bit closer together and pressing just a little bit harder. But again, this object isn't very big, and I want to show that I have control over what media I'm using. For some people, hatch is one of the more awkward ones to get used to, and I get that. But with practice, you'll find that it actually allows quite a bit of variety and quite a bit of control. And everybody does hatch slightly different. You know, it is an art. So even if this is different than how it has been explained to you, or different than how you're used to doing it, it doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means it's different. I'm probably obsessing just a little bit too much over these transitions. And so that's taking a two-dimensional circle and creating a three-dimensional sphere out of hatch and crosshatch.